Millionaire CEO never performed for years until he met his maid. The truth will make you cry. The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor, golden liquid spreading like spilled dreams. Alexander Sterling stood frozen in his penthouse bedroom, staring at the woman in the doorway, his new maid holding fresh linens, her eyes wide with concern rather than fear. For 5 years, no woman had seen inside this room. For 5 years, he'd been less than a man. But something in her gentle gaze made him want to believe in possibilities again. Welcome back to our channel, everyone. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join our family of story lovers. Today's emotional journey will touch your heart in ways you never expected. Don't forget to comment below where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers worldwide. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sterling. I knocked, but... Rosa Martinez stood in the doorway, still clutching the fresh linens, her voice soft with genuine concern. Get out. His voice was ice, but his hands trembled as he knelt to collect the broken glass. Let me help. I said get out. But Rosa didn't flee like the others had. Instead, she set down the linens and grabbed a towel from her cleaning cart. You'll cut yourself, she said simply, kneeling beside him. Alexander Sterling, CEO of Sterling Technologies, worth $2.8 billion, found himself speechless as this woman, this stranger, carefully picked up shards of glass with practiced efficiency. Her hands were steady where his shook. There, she said after a moment, depositing the glass in her waste bin. No harm done. These things happen. Not to me, he said quietly, the words escaping before he could stop them. Rosa looked at him then, really looked at him. Not at the Armani suit or the Rolex watch or the penthouse that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. She looked at him and saw something that made her heart recognize a familiar pain. To everyone, she said softly, just in different ways. She left then, closing the door quietly behind her, leaving Alexander alone with the echo of understanding he hadn't felt in 5 years. Rosa Martinez hadn't planned to work as a maid. With a nursing degree and years of experience, she should have been in a hospital somewhere, healing people. But life had other plans. After David's death, after the medical bills had taken everything, she'd needed work immediately. The agency said Sterling paid well and asked no questions. Perfect for someone running from memories. She'd expected arrogance from a billionaire, maybe wandering hands or crude comments like her last employer. She hadn't expected the raw pain she'd seen in those grey eyes, the same look she saw in her own mirror each morning. Everything all right? Beatrice, the house manager, asked when Rosa returned to the kitchen. Fine, just startled Mr. Sterling, Beatrice snorted. That man startles at shadows. 5 years I've worked here and he's like a ghost. No visitors, no women, no life. Just work and this empty palace. No women? Rosa found herself asking. Not since the divorce. Whatever that witch did to him, it broke something inside. Man's got everything but lives like a monk, a very angry monk. Rosa thought about those trembling hands, the shattered glass, the way he'd said, not to me, like perfection was a prison. She understood prisons. She'd built her own after David died, walls of routine and work to keep the pain at bay. The next morning, she knocked firmly before entering his bedroom. He was already gone, but the bed looked barely slept in. On the nightstand, a note in precise handwriting. Thank you for yesterday. A.S. She smiled despite herself. So the angry monk had manners. Their dance continued for weeks. She'd clean, he'd avoid. When their paths crossed, he'd nod stiffly while she offered gentle smiles. But slowly, things shifted. He started leaving his home office door open while she worked. She'd hum softly, old songs David used to love, and notice how the tension in his shoulders eased at the sound. You were a nurse, he said one afternoon, making her jump. She hadn't heard him approach. How did you... The way you handled the glass, efficient, practiced. And Beatrice mentioned your background. Rosa straightened from dusting his bookshelf. Yes, for 12 years. Why stop? The question hung between them. She could lie, make up something simple, but those grey eyes held their own pain, and somehow that made honesty easier. My husband got sick, cancer. I took care of him at home until after. The bills took everything. Nursing jobs wanted recent references, but I'd been gone 2 years. Cleaning was faster money. I'm sorry. 2 words, but the weight of them, the understanding, made her throat tight. We do what we must, she managed. Yes, he said quietly. We do. He turned to leave, then paused. The humming. Don't stop. It's nice. After that, their interactions grew longer. He'd ask about her day. She'd inquire about his work. Safe topics, but underneath a current of something deeper. Rosa found herself looking forward to work, to these moments of connection with a man who seemed as lost as she felt. You don't eat enough, she observed one evening, finding him in his office at 9 p.m., surrounded by empty coffee cups but no food. I forget, he admitted. That's not forgetting, that's avoiding. His eyes sharpened. I don't pay you to psychoanalyze me. No, you pay me to take care of your home. You're part of your home. The logic made him almost smile. Almost. I suppose you're going to insist on feeding me now. Would that be so terrible? He studied her for a long moment. I don't. I eat alone. So do I, she said simply. Maybe we could eat alone together. It became their routine. She'd prepare simple meals, nothing fancy, just good food, and they'd eat in his kitchen, not talking much, but somehow filling the silence with something better than words. He started gaining weight, looking less gaunt. She started humming more, remembering music beyond grief. Why Sterling Technologies? She asked one night over pasta. Why tech? Control, he answered without hesitation. Code does what you tell it. No surprises, no betrayal, just logic and outcomes. But no heart. Hearts are overrated, he said, but his tone lacked conviction. David was a programmer, she offered. He used to say code was poetry for machines, but his favorite part was making programs that helped people, the human element. David was your husband? She nodded. 3 years gone next month. Do you still love him? The question surprised them both. Alexander looked like he wanted to take it back, but Rosa considered carefully. I'll always love who he was, but I'm learning to let go of who we might have been. It's the might-have-beens that haunt us, don't you think? Yes, he said roughly. God, yes. That night he told her about Vivian, the wife who'd seemed perfect, who'd said the right things and played the right part, who'd laughed about his performance issues with her lover, recording it for posterity, who'd sent him the video during a board meeting, her cruel laughter echoing through his earbuds as his world crumbled. She said I was broken, defective, that I wasn't man enough for anyone. His hands clenched around his water glass. 5 years, and I still hear her laughing. Rosa reached across the table, covering his white knuckles with her warm hand. She was wrong. Was she? I can't. He pulled away, standing abruptly. I shouldn't have said anything. Alexander. His name on her lips stopped him. Being broken doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you human. Humans heal, he said bitterly. I just stay broken. Maybe you just haven't found the right person to heal with. The words hung between them, loaded with possibility. He fled to his office, but Rosa noticed he left the door open. Have you ever found healing in unexpected places? Sometimes the person who can mend our hearts comes when we least expect it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. The shift happened gradually, then all at once. Alexander started working from home more, timing his schedule to match Rosa's. She brought lunch to his office, staying to ensure he ate. Their conversations deepened, moving from safe to sacred. I dream about her sometimes, he admitted one afternoon. Vivian, she's laughing, always laughing, and I can't move, can't speak, can't be what she wanted. What did she want? A performing seal, someone to parade at parties and satisfy her in bed. When I couldn't, he trailed off. When you couldn't perform on demand, she blamed you instead of looking at why. He looked at her sharply. What do you mean? Rosa chose her words carefully. In nursing, we learned that physical intimacy is deeply connected to emotional safety. When trust is broken, the body often protects itself by shutting down. It's not weakness, it's survival. 5 years is a long time to survive. Yes, but surviving isn't living. I don't remember how to live. Then maybe it's time to learn again. Their eyes met and held. Something shifted in the air between them, delicate as spun glass and just as dangerous. Alexander looked away first. I should get back to work. But that night, he sought her out in the kitchen. Would you stay for dinner? Not to eat alone together, but to eat together. The distinction mattered. Rosa felt it in her quickening pulse. I'd like that. They cooked side by side, Alexander clumsy but determined. He told her about growing up with parents who showed love through achievements, not affection. She shared stories of her grandmother, who taught her that food was love made tangible. I haven't cooked since college, he admitted, massacring an onion. Here, she stepped behind him, guiding his hands. Like this, gentle but firm. He went very still. She realized how close they were, how long it had been since she'd touched someone beyond the casual. She should step back, she didn't. Rosa, he said, voice strained. I'm sorry, He turned in her arms, onion forgotten. Don't apologize, please. I need you to know that I'm not asking for anything, she said softly. Just this, just being here with you. Why? The word was raw, desperate. Why would you want to be here with someone like me? Because you see me, she said simply. Not the maid, not the widow, just me. And because when I'm with you, I remember what it feels like to matter to someone. You matter, he said fiercely. God, Rosa, you matter so much it terrifies me. She reached up, cupping his face gently. He leaned into her touch like a man starved for kindness. Then we'll be terrified together, she whispered. He kissed her then, soft and uncertain, like he'd forgotten how. Maybe he had, but Rosa kissed him back with all the patience in the world, and slowly, sweetly, he remembered. When they pulled apart, both were trembling. I'm scared, he admitted. Me too. What if I can't? What if I'm still? Then we'll face that together too. Alexander, I'm not Vivian. I don't need you to perform. I just need you to be here, with me, figuring it out as we go. I don't deserve you. That's not your decision to make. He laughed, surprised by her firmness. No. It's mine, and I choose you. Broken pieces and all. I choose you too, he whispered, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. Good thing I do, she teased gently. Nurse, remember, I'm excellent at helping people heal. Is that what this is? Healing? The beginning of it, maybe. They finished cooking together, the kitchen filled with warmth and possibility. When they ate, they sat side by side instead of across from each other. Small changes that felt monumental. I haven't felt hope in 5 years, Alexander said quietly. I'd forgotten what it felt like. What does it feel like? Like you, he said simply. It feels exactly like you. That night, Rosa stayed late. They talked until the city lights blurred together, sharing pieces of themselves they'd kept hidden. When she finally left, Alexander walked her to the door. Tomorrow? He asked, vulnerable as a child. Tomorrow, she promised. But tomorrow brought complications neither expected. You're what? Beatrice's voice echoed through the kitchen the next morning. Rosa, have you lost your mind? Keep your voice down, Rosa pleaded. He's your employer. There are rules, boundaries, and Mr. Sterling, He's healing, Rosa said firmly. We both are. Healing, Beatrice snorted. Is that what we're calling it now? It's not like that. Then what's it like? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. That man has walls so high you'd need a rocket to get over them. Maybe I don't want to go over them. Maybe I want to help him take them down. Beatrice studied her for a long moment. You're in love with him. It's too soon for... Oh, honey, love doesn't check calendars, but be careful. Mr. Sterling's ex-wife did a number on him. I don't know the details, but I know he hasn't been the same since. I know about Vivian. Do you? Do you know she still calls sometimes? That she's been trying to get back in his good graces now that her lover left her broke? Rosa felt cold. She calls. Once a month, like clockwork. He never takes them, but she keeps trying. Woman's like a bad penny. The rest of the day, Rosa couldn't shake her unease. When Alexander found her that evening, he knew immediately something was wrong. What is it? Vivian calls you. His face shuttered. Beatrice. Why didn't you tell me? Because she doesn't matter. I don't answer. I don't engage. She's the past. A past that calls monthly doesn't sound very past tense. He caught her hands. Rosa, look at me. Vivian destroyed who I was. But you're helping me discover who I can be. That's all that matters. What does she want? Money. Forgiveness. Another chance to humiliate me. I don't know and I don't care. Maybe you should talk to her. Get closure. No. The word was sharp. She doesn't deserve words from me. She doesn't deserve anything from me. But maybe you deserve to tell her that. Maybe you deserve to show her she didn't break you permanently. Alexander pulled her close. Is that what you think? That I need to prove something to her? Not to her, to yourself. He was quiet for a long moment. What if talking to her undoes everything? What if I hear her voice and become that pathetic man again? Then I'll be here to remind you who you really are. And who's that? The man who's learning to cook because it makes me smile. The man who stays up talking until dawn because connection matters more than sleep. The man who's brave enough to try again despite the fear. That man only exists because of you. No, Rosa said firmly. He always existed. You just needed someone to see him. If you're loving this story about second chances and healing, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear that love can heal the deepest wounds. The call came 3 days later. Rosa was organizing Alexander's closet when his phone rang. She saw the name flash, Vivian. Alexander, she called. He appeared in the doorway, saw his phone in her hand, saw the name. His face went white. You don't have to, Rosa started, but he took the phone, something determined in his eyes. Yes, I do, he answered on speaker. What do you want, Vivian? Alex, finally, I've been trying to reach you for months. The voice was honeyed poison, artificially sweet. How are you, darling? I'm not your darling. What do you want? So cold. That's not like you. Or, wait, it is, isn't it? Cold in every way that matters. Rosa saw his jaw clench, moved to leave, but he caught her hand, holding tight. If you called to insult me, this conversation is over. No. Wait. I'm sorry. That was old habits. I'm calling because I need to see you. To explain. There's nothing to explain. You made yourself perfectly clear in that video. Vivian's laugh was nervous now, not cruel. That was a mistake. I was drunk, angry. You have to understand, Alex, living with a man who wouldn't. It made me crazy. So you slept with my business partner and recorded yourself mocking me. Yes, the picture of sanity. I'm sorry. How many times do I have to say it? I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I wasn't patient. I'm sorry for everything. Why now, Vivian? Why are you sorry now? A pause. Because I understand now. What I threw away. What we had. We had nothing. You made that clear. That's not true. We had potential. We could have worked through it if you just tried harder, seen a doctor, done something instead of shutting down. Rosa felt Alexander's hand tremble in hers. She squeezed back, grounding him. I did try, he said quietly. I saw doctors. I went to therapy. I did everything to fix what you said was broken. But you know what I learned? I wasn't broken. Our marriage was. You can't perform for someone who sees you as a failure before you even try. What kind of man can't even get it up for his own wife? Your words, Vivian. Maybe if you were a real man, I wouldn't need to find satisfaction elsewhere. Also, your words. He's like a Ken doll, all looks and no function. Should I continue? I was hurt. You were cruel. There's a difference. Alex, please. I made mistakes, but so did you. You were so focused on work, so distant. I felt like I was married to a ghost. Because every time I tried to be present, you reminded me of how I was failing you. Do you know what that does to a person? To constantly be told you're not enough. Rosa moved closer, her free hand resting on his back. He straightened at her touch. I know now, Vivian said, her voice smaller. Richard left me. Said I was impossible to please, that nothing was ever enough. I finally understood how you must have felt. I'm sorry you're hurting, Alexander said, and Rosa was proud of the steadiness in his voice. But that doesn't erase what happened between us. Couldn't we try again? I've changed, Alex. I've grown. And I know you haven't been with anyone since me. We could take it slow, rebuild. I'm with someone. The words hung in the air. Rosa's heart stopped. You're... What? Who? Since when? That's none of your business. None of my... Alex, I'm your wife. Ex-wife. You made sure of that when you served me divorce papers at my father's funeral. Does she know, this new woman, does she know about your problem? Alexander looked at Rosa, his eyes soft. She knows everything. And she doesn't see it as a problem. She sees it as part of my journey. She's after your money. She didn't know I had money when we met. She saw me, not my bank account. That's the difference between her and you, Vivian. She sees me as a whole person, not a performance review. This is ridiculous. You can't just... Goodbye, Vivian. Don't call again. He hung up, the phone clattering to the dresser. For a moment, neither moved. You told her about me, Rosa said softly. Was that okay? I should have asked, but I needed her to know. She silenced him with a kiss, pouring all her pride, her admiration, her growing love into the contact. When they parted, he was breathless. You stood up to her. I stood up for us, he corrected, for what we're building. And what are we building? I don't know, he admitted, but for the first time in 5 years I want to find out. Even if it's scary, especially then. You make me brave, Rosa. You were always brave. You just forgot for a while. That night, they crossed new boundaries, not physical ones. Alexander wasn't ready, and Rosa didn't push. But emotional walls crumbled as they lay on his couch, her head on his chest, his fingers in her hair, talking about dreams they'd abandoned and ones they might dare to dream again. I want to help people, Rosa said. Go back to nursing eventually, when I'm ready. You help me every day. That's different. Is it? You're healing me, Rosa. Isn't that what nurses do? You're healing yourself. I'm just here for support. No, he said firmly. You're here because you choose to be, because somehow, inexplicably, you see something in me worth saving. Not saving, loving. The words slipped out, hung between them like a held breath. Rosa tensed, waiting for him to pull away. Instead, he held her tighter. Say it again. Loving, she whispered. I see something worth loving. I haven't heard that word applied to me in so long I'd forgotten it was possible. It's possible. More than possible. It's happening. Rosa, you don't have to say it back. I know it's soon. I know you're still... I love you too. She lifted her head to look at him. His eyes were wet, but his gaze was steady. You do? How could I not? You've given me back pieces of myself I thought were lost forever. You see me at my worst and still stay. You make me want to be better, not for you but for myself. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Alexander, I know I'm not whole yet. I know there are things I still can't, but I'm trying. For you, for us. Not just for us, Rosa said firmly. For you. You deserve to be whole for yourself, not anyone else. When did you become so wise? Somewhere between the broken glass and burnt onions. He laughed, the sound rich and real. I love you, Rosa Martinez. Completely, desperately, terrifyingly. I love you too, Alexander Sterling. Patiently, steadily, eternally. They sealed the promises with kisses, each one a step toward healing, toward hope, toward a future neither had dared imagine. But the path to healing is rarely smooth, and their biggest challenge was yet to come. The news broke a week later. Someone had seen them together, Alexander helping Rosa with groceries, looking happier than anyone had seen him in years. The photo made the business blogs first, then mainstream media. Tech billionaire's new romance with household staff. Sterling's rebound, from socialite to service worker. CEO's Cinderella story, real love or publicity stunt. Alexander threw his tablet across the office. Rosa found him there, surrounded by the shattered remains of his brief peace. They make it sound sordid, he said without looking up. Like I'm some predator taking advantage of you. Or like I'm a gold digger taking advantage of you, Rosa countered, sitting beside him. Neither is true. The board is concerned. My lawyers are concerned. Everyone's concerned except the two people who actually matter. Then maybe we should remind them who matters. He looked at her then. What do you mean? You've been hiding for 5 years, Alexander. Maybe it's time to stop. You want me to go public, to parade our relationship for the media? No. I want you to live your life without shame, to stop letting fear of judgment keep you in this tower. It's not that simple, isn't it? She took his hands. You're one of the most powerful men in the city. Use that power. Show them that love isn't about status or expectations. It's about connection. And if they tear us apart, if they dig into your past, your pain, then we face it together, like we've faced everything else. Alexander studied her for a long moment. You're not afraid? I'm terrified, but I'm more afraid of letting them win, of letting their narrow minds dictate our happiness. Vivian will use this. She'll twist it, make it ugly. Let her try. She has no power over us unless we give it to her. When did you become my strength? The same time you became my hope. He pulled her close. I don't deserve you. We've discussed this, not your decision. Rosa, there's something else. The board wants to meet you to assess the situation. Then let's meet them. You don't understand. These people are sharks. They'll try to buy you off, scare you away. I've faced scarier things than rich people in suits. Have you? I held my husband's hand while he died. I rebuilt my life from ashes. I fell in love with a man who thought he was unlovable. Your board doesn't scare me. Alexander kissed her fiercely. You're incredible. I'm yours, that's all that matters. The meeting was scheduled for Friday. Alexander tried to prepare her, but Rosa had her own plans. You want to what? Alexander stared at her. Cook for them, feed them, show them who I really am. Rosa, these people dine at Michelin-starred restaurants. They're not going to be impressed by food made with love, by someone who cares about more than impressing them. Maybe that's exactly what they need. This isn't a movie. You can't win them over with a home-cooked meal. Watch me. And he did. Rosa arrived at the boardroom with containers of her grandmother's recipes, comfort food elevated by skill and care. She served each board member personally, meeting their surprised eyes with calm confidence. Mr. Harrison, she addressed the lead board member, Alexander tells me you have 3 daughters. This is my grandmother's soup. She used to say it could cure anything from broken hearts to broken deals. The older man, caught off guard by her directness, actually smiled. My grandmother made something similar. Then you know the secret ingredient is patience, something I have in abundance. She moved around the table, serving and charming, completely at ease. Alexander watched in amazement as his cutthroat board slowly succumbed to her warmth. Now, Rosa said, taking her seat beside Alexander. You have concerns about our relationship. Ask me anything. You're very direct, Harrison observed. Life's too short for games. Alexander's had enough of those. You know about his history? I know Vivian broke something in him that he's working to repair. I know he's brilliant and kind and deserves love like anyone else. I know you're worried I'm after his money, or that I'll hurt him like she did. And I can't prove my intentions with words. Only time will show you who I am. But I can tell you this, I loved him before I knew he was wealthy. I loved him when he was just a lonely man who couldn't eat a proper meal. I'll love him if he loses everything tomorrow. That's easy to say. Mr. Harrison, Rosa interrupted gently, I've already lost everything once. My husband, my career, my savings. I know what rock bottom looks like. I also know that love isn't about what someone can give you. It's about who they are when everything else falls away. And who is my son when everything falls away? This from Margaret Chen, the only woman on the board. Rosa looked at Alexander, her eyes soft. He's the man who leaves me thank you notes for small kindnesses, who learns to cook because it makes me smile, who faces his demons because he wants to be worthy of love, not realizing he already is. He's extraordinary. You speak like a woman in love, Margaret observed. Because I am. Completely. Unapologetically. And if we don't approve? Rosa straightened. Then you'll lose more than you gain. Alexander has given this company everything for years. He's sacrificed his health, his happiness, his personal life for its success. Maybe instead of questioning his choices, you should be grateful he's finally choosing himself. The room was silent. Then Harrison laughed, surprising everyone. She's got spine, Sterling, I'll give you that. She has everything, Alexander said quietly. Heart, soul, strength, compassion. She's saved my life in every way that matters. Alexander, Rosa protested. No, they need to hear this. For 5 years I've been a ghost, going through motions, making money, but dead inside. Rosa brought me back to life. If that threatens the company's image, then maybe it's the image that needs changing. And what about Vivian? Margaret asked. She's been making noise about reconciliation. Vivian is the past. Rosa is my future. If I have to choose between this company and her, I choose her. Every time. The board exchanged glances. Finally, Harrison spoke. Well then, I suppose we should discuss the prenup. No, Alexander and Rosa said in unison. I don't want his money, Rosa added. I want his heart. That's all I've ever wanted. Be that as it may. Harrison, Alexander's voice was steel. There will be no prenup, no contracts, no business arrangements. This is love, not a merger. If you can't understand that, perhaps it's time for new board members. The threat hung in the air. Alexander Sterling controlled enough shares to make good on it. I think, Margaret said carefully, what Harrison means is we want to protect both of you, ensure fairness. The only fairness I need is Alexander's trust, Rosa said, and he has mine, completely. Have you ever had to fight for love against outside opinions? Sometimes the greatest act of courage is choosing happiness, despite what others think. Let me know your thoughts below. The meeting ended with grudging acceptance. As they left, Margaret pulled Rosa aside. You're good for him, she said quietly. I haven't seen him this alive since before Vivian. Don't let us corporate sharks scare you away. I don't scare easily. Good, he needs that. Needs you. In the elevator, Alexander pulled Rosa close. You were magnificent. I was terrified. You didn't show it. I learned from the best. You face your fears every day. With you, they don't seem so scary. That's the point of partnership, facing things together. Rosa, I want more than partnership. She looked up at him. What do you mean? I mean, he stopped the elevator, turning to face her fully. I mean, I want everything. Marriage, family, growing old together. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life. Alexander, I know it's fast. I know we should wait. But I've already lost 5 years to fear. I don't want to lose another day. Are you proposing in an elevator? I'm proposing everywhere, in elevators, in boardrooms, in kitchens while you teach me to cook. I'm proposing with every breath until you say yes. You haven't actually asked a question. He dropped to one knee right there in the stopped elevator. Rosa Martinez, you've shown me that broken doesn't mean worthless, that love is patient and kind and doesn't keep score. You've given me back myself and shown me who I could be. Will you marry me? You don't have a ring. I have 12. I've been carrying them around for a week trying to find the perfect moment. 12 rings. I couldn't decide. Nothing seemed good enough for you. Rosa laughed through her tears. Oh, Alexander, only you would buy a dozen rings because one wasn't perfect enough. Is that a yes? That's a yes to you, to us, to facing whatever comes next together. Even if we still can't. Alexander Sterling, listen to me. I'm not marrying you for your performance in bed. I'm marrying you for your performance in life, for how you show up every day trying to be better, for how you love with your whole heart once you let yourself, for the man you are, not the function you think you're failing. I want to be whole for you. You already are. Everything else is just details we'll figure out together. He slipped a ring on her finger, a simple band with a single pearl. This was my grandmother's, the only one that felt right. It's perfect, you're perfect. Far from it. Perfect for me then. They kissed as the elevator started moving again, heading up instead of down. Toward the penthouse, toward their future, toward a life neither had imagined but both desperately wanted. The wedding was small, intimate, just family and close friends in the rooftop garden of Alexander's building. Rosa wore a simple cream dress, Alexander a suit without a tie. They wrote their own vows. Rosa, Alexander began, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. 6 months ago, I was drowning in my own darkness. You didn't just throw me a lifeline, you jumped in after me. You saw past the broken pieces to the man I could be. You taught me that strength isn't about being invulnerable, it's about being brave enough to be vulnerable. I promise to love you on the good days and the difficult ones, to support your dreams as you've supported my healing, to never take for granted the miracle of your love. Rosa was crying before he finished, not caring who saw. Alexander, you say I saved you, but the truth is we saved each other. You reminded me that my heart could still feel joy after loss, that love wasn't something that happened only once. You showed me that patience and understanding could heal wounds I thought were permanent. I promise to stand beside you through whatever comes, to celebrate your victories and hold you through your struggles, to love not just who you are, but who you're becoming. Beatrice sobbed loudly from the front row. Even Harrison had to clear his throat. But the most beautiful sight was Alexander's face, open, joyful, unashamed of the tears on his cheeks. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said. You may kiss your bride. The kiss was tender, a promise sealed. As they turned to face their guests, Rosa caught sight of someone at the garden entrance. Vivian, dressed in black, like she was attending a funeral. Alexander saw her too, stiffened, but Rosa squeezed his hand. Together, she whispered. They walked toward Vivian, united. She looked smaller than Rosa had imagined, her perfect facade cracked. I had to see for myself, Vivian said. Had to know if it was real. It's real, Alexander said simply. Vivian studied Rosa. You're not what I expected. Neither are you, Rosa replied honestly. He looks happy, really happy, not just performing happiness for cameras. He is happy. We both are. I never made him look like that. It wasn't accusatory, just sad. I tried to force him to be what I wanted instead of loving who he was. We all make mistakes, Rosa said gently. The important thing is learning from them. Vivian laughed bitterly. Very gracious of you. The new wife being kind to the ex. I'm being kind to a woman in pain, Rosa corrected. I know what that feels like. He told you everything? Everything. And you still wanted him? Because of everything. His struggles made him who he is. A man who understands that love requires work, patience, and acceptance. Vivian looked between them for a long moment. I'm sorry, she said finally. To both of you. Alexander, I'm sorry for the cruelty, for making you feel less than, for being so caught up in my own needs that I couldn't see yours. Alexander nodded slowly. Thank you. I hope you have everything we couldn't. She turned to leave, then paused. Be good to him, she told Rosa. He deserves that. I will." After Vivian left, Alexander pulled Rosa close. "On our wedding day. She showed up on our wedding day. And it's okay. We faced her together. She has no power over us now." "How are you so strong?" "I'm not strong. I just love you more than I fear the past." "Mrs. Sterling," he said, testing the words. "My wife." "Mr. Sterling," she replied. "My husband." "Want to know a secret?" he whispered. "This morning, for the first time in 5 years, I woke up without dread, without fear, without feeling broken." "What did you feel?" "Whole, hopeful, hungry for life." He spun her around, making her laugh. "I think my body's finally understanding it's safe, that you're not going anywhere." "Never," she promised. "You're stuck with me." Best imprisonment ever. The reception was joyful, filled with laughter and terrible dancing. Alexander had many skills, but rhythm wasn't one of them. Rosa danced with Harrison, who'd become an unexpected ally. Alexander waltzed with Beatrice, who whispered something that made him laugh. "What did she say?" Rosa asked when they were dancing together again. "That she knew from the first day you were different, that you looked at me like a person, not a project or a paycheck." "You were never a project. Maybe a little bit of a puzzle, but never a project. And now you're my husband, my perfectly imperfect husband." "I love you, Rosa Sterling." "I love you too, Alexander Sterling." As the night wound down, they stood at the garden railing, looking out over the city lights. Rosa thought about the journey that had brought them here, the pain, the healing, the unexpected love. "Penny, for your thoughts?" Alexander asked. "Just thinking about how I came to clean your house and ended up cleaning out your heart instead. Best maid service ever. 5 stars. Would definitely recommend." She laughed, leaning into him. "Silly." "Happy," he corrected. "Deliriously, impossibly happy. Even with Rosa, what we have goes so far beyond physical. Yes, I want that connection with you. Yes, I'm working on it. But if it never happens, if this is all we have, it's more than enough. You're more than enough." "We'll get there," she said confidently. "When you're ready, when your body trusts as much as your heart does. And if it takes time, then it takes time. We have our whole lives. Promise?" "Promise." 6 months later, Rosa was back in nursing school, part-time classes while still managing Alexander's home, though now it was their home. Alexander had cut his work hours in half, focusing on philanthropic projects and, more importantly, on living. "How was class?" he asked, greeting her with a kiss and her favorite tea. "Exhausting. Exhilarating. I'd forgotten how much I loved the science of healing." "You never forgot, you just practiced on me instead of patience." "My favorite patient," she agreed. "How was therapy?" "Good. Really good. Dr. Martinez says I'm making remarkable progress." I could have told her that. "Yes, but you're biased." "Completely," Rosa agreed, hopelessly biased in favor of my amazing husband. "Rosa," his voice carried a different note, "I want to try." She set down her tea, giving him full attention. "Try? Being together, fully. I think I'm ready." "Are you sure? There's no rush?" "I'm sure. I trust you. I trust us. And this morning, when I woke up beside you, I felt desire. Real desire. Not pressure or obligation. Just wanting to be close to you in every way." Rosa took his hands. "Okay. But we go slow. And if at any point, I know, we stop. No questions. No disappointment. Just love." "Just love," she agreed. That night, they discovered what everyone else had always known. That true intimacy comes from trust, not performance. That love makes all things possible. That healing happens in its own time, but always leads to wholeness. "I love you," Alexander whispered against her skin. "Thank you for waiting for me." "I'd wait forever," Rosa replied. "But I'm glad I didn't have to." They lay entwined, 2 souls who'd found their way through darkness to light. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, there was only peace, love, and the quiet miracle of second chances. "No regrets?" Alexander asked, their new ritual. Not one, Rosa confirmed. You. Only that it took so long to find you. We found each other exactly when we were meant to, when we were ready to truly see and be seen. The Maid and the Millionaire, he mused. Sounds like a bad romance novel. Or a perfect love story, Rosa countered, about two broken people who helped each other heal. I like your version better. Good, because it's our version, our story. The best story, Alexander agreed, pulling her closer. With the happiest ending. Not ending, Rosa corrected. Beginning. This is just our beginning. And it was. A beginning built on trust, patience, and the kind of love that sees past wounds to the heart beneath. The kind that heals. The kind that lasts. 5 years later, at a charity gala for Rosa's new foundation providing healthcare for domestic workers, a reporter asked them about their unusual love story. It wasn't unusual, Rosa said, her hand resting on her pregnant belly, their 2-year-old son playing at their feet. It was exactly what we both needed. Sometimes love comes in unexpected packages. But a billionaire and his maid? The reporter pressed. Alexander pulled his wife closer. A lonely man and a compassionate woman, a broken soul and a healing heart. The labels never mattered. Only the love did. Do you ever think about how different your lives would be if you hadn't met? Rosa and Alexander exchanged glances, a whole conversation in a look. Empty, they said in unison, then laughed. My life before Rosa was successful but hollow, Alexander elaborated. She didn't just change my life, she gave me one. And he reminded me that my life wasn't over after loss, Rosa added. That love could happen twice, differently but just as powerfully. Any advice for others struggling with similar issues? Be patient with yourself, Alexander said. Healing isn't linear. Some days are harder than others, but with the right person beside you, even the hardest days become bearable. And don't let anyone make you feel broken, Rosa added firmly. Different doesn't mean defective. Everyone deserves love exactly as they are. As they walked away, their son on Alexander's shoulders, baby daughter due in weeks, Rosa reflected on the journey. From that first day with the shattered glass to this moment of complete wholeness. What are you thinking? Alexander asked, knowing her moods. Just that sometimes the best things come from the worst moments. If you hadn't been struggling, if I hadn't needed work, if that glass hadn't broken, we'd have missed everything, Alexander finished. Thank God for broken glass. Thank God for broken hearts that learn to beat again, Rosa countered. Thank God for maids who see past messes to the man beneath. Thank God for millionaires who value hearts over performance. Thank God for you, Alexander said simply. Thank God for us, Rosa corrected, and knew it was the deepest truth of all. Their son giggled from his perch, pointing at birds overhead. Their daughter kicked within her womb. Alexander's hand found hers, wedding rings clicking together. Life was full, rich, real, perfect in its imperfection, whole in ways that mattered, complete in love, the truth that makes you cry. Sometimes the greatest love stories begin with the deepest wounds. Sometimes healing comes from unexpected places. Sometimes a maid and a millionaire can teach each other that performance is nothing compared to presence, that broken can become beautiful, that love, real love, sees past everything to the soul within. And sometimes, just sometimes, that's more than enough. It's everything. Thank you so much for joining me on this emotional journey of healing, love, and second chances. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear that love can heal even the deepest wounds. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you or someone you know faced similar struggles? Do you believe that true love transcends physical limitations? Remember, everyone deserves love and understanding, exactly as they are. Until next time, keep believing in love, in healing, and in the power of compassion to transform lives. This is your reminder that you are worthy of love, just as you are. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next story.